Hi everyone, Risotto here and welcome back to another Airsoft video. As of recording, we're still battling through the coronavirus pandemic here in the UK, meaning many of us are spending a lot of time at home and not playing much Airsoft. If you're like me, then you're also probably spending a lot of that downtime going through your gear and prepping it for the next available game. In this video, I thought I'd go through my crafting box, which contains all of the materials I've used to craft my leaf suit and other Airsoft equipment over the years. The idea being to give you guys some inspiration for your own leaf suit and share my thoughts on these items, what works well and perhaps what doesn't work so well for me. So sit back, grab a coffee and let's get started. So to start off with, we've got these, what are referred to as cheap Chinese leaves. Now these come in a pack of different colors. You can see you've got some reds here, you've got some sort of more yellowy, greeny ones. And the reason you would buy these is to basically dye them to a different color. So there's a few different dyes you can use. I personally actually ink dyed them, which was fairly effective. These may not be the best ones I've done, but there are some. This one's not too bad. Don't know if you can see that. Just basically thread a bit of raffia through and tie them onto the suit. Next up, we've got these leaves, which are from Ikea. You would have seen me talk about these in my leaf suit tips and tricks video that I did where I was going through my whole leaf suit. Purple ones, not very useful, but definitely these. These are almost like stinging nettle type ones. These are great. The colors on them are really, really good. I've attached some of these to my leaf suit, haven't adjusted the color at all. Basically, they have a hole in the bottom of the stem. You could fit a very small cable tie through and you can just tie it into your suit. You can see they come in a few different textures. You could use some of these. I've used a few of them before, but the white isn't great. Maybe you could spray paint these, but they cover a large surface area. Definitely recommend going to Ikea and getting a pack of these. Next up, we have these leaves. Obviously, we all know what these are. These are sneaky leaves, which unfortunately are no longer available. But I thought it would be worth putting them in this video because they are in my craft box. They are something that I use on my kit. So you can see they come in loads of different colors. You've got your gray ones. Then you've got these sort of more yellow ones, which are definitely sort of more autumn colors. And then you've got your green ones, which in my opinion are the best. And you've got these sort of more brown ones, which are definitely sort of winter colors. But the thing about these sneaky leaves is that they're really strong. That's probably the best thing about them, really. They're not going to sort of snap off the stems and fall off your kit when you're running around. They also have a hole for a cable tie to put through, and they cover a large surface area, and the colors are really good. So they really are really, really good. As someone pointed out in my last video, they are now discontinued. And for me, the best alternative probably on the market looks like, and I don't own any of them at the moment, are the Novrich leaves. Novrich looks like he's definitely trying to fill in the gap which these left in the market. But we'll see. I'm sure there will be many more of these type of leaves coming onto the market as, you know, the sort of leaf suit building community gets more popular, which it is. It's very popular at the moment. You know, if you go to your Airsoft site, you usually see someone in a leaf suit now, and it definitely wasn't like that. A while ago, there were maybe a couple of players in leaf suits, ghillie suits, but now there seems to be loads of people. So the more popular it gets, I'm sure the more of these kind of leaves will come onto the market. But yeah, sneaker leaves, if you can get a pack, I totally recommend getting some. But if you can't, definitely look at other alternatives. Like I say, the Novrich leaves look good. Just got to look around. Like I said, the Ikea leaves as well. They're not as strong, but they do have the stem. And the ability to put a cable tie through. Okay, next up, we've got these, which are kind of almost like grass kind of root things. And I did go over these again in one of my previous videos. Basically, I plucked all the these sort of grass bits off the plastic stem. And again, they had a little hole at the bottom, which was perfect for me to loop a cable tie through. So that's exactly what I did. I did put a little bit of brown spray paint on them just to take the edge off them. This one has been sprayed brown. This one hasn't. It is very hard to tell in sort of like indoors. The best way to test your leaf suits is just by going outside and putting them next to sort of actual leaves and foliage, because when you're crafting indoors, it's very easy to think that it looks good, but then the colors will probably be too bright, too saturated. So you want to be testing outdoors. But yeah, this has basically got a little bit of brown spray paint on just to take the edge off the color. These are very good. Okay, next up, we've got... this is, again, just an artificial plant that I found. Now, obviously, we're not going to be using the pink roses. I don't know, maybe you'd like to use the pink roses. But the rest of the plant, which you can see here, or the artificial plant, is actually pretty useful. The colors are really good. So, yeah, I basically just cable tied a couple of these into my leaf suit. They don't have to be specifically for ghillie suit crafting, leaf suit crafting. This is literally an artificial plant that I've chopped up and taken the good bits from and put in my leaf suit. Okay, next up we've got these leaves here, which were ones that I just purchased on Amazon. They just looked good online, so I purchased them. But they're not, honestly, they're not very good for leaf suit crafting. They come on this big vine, and I suppose they're designed to decorate like walls or doorways or things like that. But again, you can just pluck them off the sort of little parts of the stem here, and they have a hole in the bottom which would allow you to put a cable tie through. This is really common, really. This is how I build most of my leaf suit. How I've done it is threading cable ties through where the leaves allow for it. And the leaves here cover a large surface area. That's good, but they are incredibly weak. They just peel right off. So that's not good. They'll probably come off in the field. But the main thing really about these is that they're so shiny and the color is just so saturated and it just looks unnatural. So although they cover a large surface area, which you think was a good thing, and they do look good online, you think, oh, these are going to look great on my leaf suit. They don't. They look pretty bad. And I had a load on my leaf suit. I took them all off because it just looked daft. I would see pictures of when I played at a game day. It was always these leaves that stood out on the leaf suit. And to be honest, I just wouldn't recommend them. Okay, next up we have these, which are artificial fern looking leaves. I got these from Hobbycraft. They're not very strong, and they do feel as though they're going to break, but I think they're good. I think they're worth putting on your leaf suit. Now, I actually use these on the backpack that I run, just to sort of create some sort of concealment on my back when I'm laying down. And they're good. They cover a large surface area. The color when you get them, again, is a little bit shiny. So I would take a can of spray paint just to take the edge off them. Come in a pack of like 5 or 10. So I would recommend them. Okay, more leaves. So here we have some more fern type looking leaves. These are from Amazon. They came in almost a big bouquet kind of thing of these ferns. When you pluck them off, you could have a hole where you could fit a cable tie through. Again, great for us leaf suit builders because we can just put a cable tie through, attach it to our suit onto the mesh. So these are, again, quite cheap. They do kind of peel off a bit, which is, again, kind of annoying. But a little bit of glue can help these guys out. Bit of spray paint, again, you can see I've just put a bit of brown spray paint to take the edge off them, which you've probably worked out by now. That's what I do on most of my leaves that I get. I never really put anything on my leaf suit straight away, apart from those IKEA leaves. They're good and a few others, but rarely. Most stuff I treat before I put it on to get the color right. Okay, next up we've got raffia, and I feel like I talk about raffia a lot in my videos. If you saw my chest rig video or my leaf suit tips and tricks video, it just bulks out the suit and recreates those sort of like twig effects that you would see in the ground. I just think it's a really simple way of building your leaf suit and making it look natural. This is the raffia I've got. This was from Hobbycraft. Again, this is just a local shop in the UK, Hobbycraft. And they have some good bits. They have some crap bits as well, let's be honest, but they have some good bits. And the raffia is something that I've used. So this is the raffia. This is it untreated. So this is how you get it out the packet. You'd get a big pack of it. Yeah, the colors are quite bright at the moment for leaf suit building. So as I've said before, and I'll say it again, what I do is I dye the raffia with coffee using 0.6's coffee dyeing technique. So you basically take it from this into something like this. So this is the difference here. So this is without any treatment here. This is just out the packet. And this is dyed with coffee. Hopefully you can see the difference on camera. It does look quite different, and this stuff just looks natural when you're out in the field and it's attached to your ghillie suit. It looks really, really good. I mean, have a look at my gameplay videos on the channel where I'm in my leaf suit using my MFH leaf suit. This raffia looks great on the suit. Yeah, so I definitely recommend if you're going to get some raffia, looking to dye it with coffee. I'll put a link in the description below to 0.6's YouTube channel where you can check out his video on how to dye raffia using instant coffee. So raffia, pretty much essential to leaf suit building in my opinion. Cheap and yeah, absolutely brilliant. While I was on the topic of raffia, let's also quickly touch on the green raffia. So this is some green raffia that I purchased on Amazon. This hasn't been treated at the moment, but the way I treat green raffia is I don't dye it with coffee because I'm not sure it would pick up with coffee. I haven't tried it, so it might be worth trying, but I haven't dyed the green stuff with coffee. What I do is usually just get a can of spray paint to it and just sort of spray it lightly, not too close where you can actually see the block of almost spray. You want it to look natural, almost dust it with some spray paint. So use some brown spray paint on the green raffia. That's my opinion. You can almost see some here that I've sort of put some brown spray paint to. Perhaps it's a bit dark, but basically you want to take that artificial edge off it. So it's not too saturated. Again, this is too green probably. Maybe a couple of bits here and there would be okay in this color, but most of it needs to be treated in some way so it's not so saturated, looks more natural and a bit more weathered. Okay, next up we've got some of this mesh stuff here, which I bought from a local haberdashery store. I just got 1 meter squared. Now, I have mentioned about this before in my previous leaf suit tips and tricks video, and I use this lightly on my leaf suit. Here's the hood on my leaf suit. You can see I've just attached a little bit in there, and I haven't attached it very well, I'll be honest, but this stuff is good for bulking out your suit and sort of lifting everything else up, breaking up the silhouette. Next up, this roll of fabric. Again, I talked about it in my previous video. It's just a roll of fabric I got given, a green sort of matte finish fabric. And what I do is cut this into little strips and attach it onto my leaf suit. It's lightweight and it looks very natural when it's hanging down. It's something that if there was a bit of wind, this stuff would definitely sort of catch in the wind, and it would just give your leaf suit a much more natural aesthetic. So here it is on my leaf suit. Again, bit of brown spray paint has just taken the edge off it. I use this here and there, just sort of dot it around, not too much. Again, when you're sort of building your leaf suit, you don't want to cape everything in one single item because it'll just look unnatural. You want to sort of be very selective about what you put on and where you put it on your leaf suit. It's not as effective as raffia, so don't go putting it on your leaf suit in the same sort of way. I think raffia is brilliant and you can really bulk up your leaf suit on raffia, but this stuff is, not quite the same, but still effective. We've got this stuff here. Looks pretty dodgy opening it in a packet. It's just moss, and this is the sort of stuff that you would buy for your model railway. This is something that I just picked up off Amazon. Now, this is a weird one. Obviously, you wouldn't put this on a leaf suit. You put it on sort of your accessories, I suppose. I actually use this on my goggles. If you've seen my videos, I have this sort of on my goggles around the rim of the eyes of the mesh. You could put it on your rifles and stuff, but as you can see already, I mean, it breaks up. You wouldn't want to put this near a magazine slot, or you want to put it if you've got like your hop-up adjustment or something. You don't want any of this getting in the barrel or the working components of your rifle. So I've just used it on my goggles. It works pretty well. I basically used a glue gun and glued it on, which is pretty effective. But as you see, it does break up. Basically just put loads of glue on it and press it down, and then remove the excess, if you will, of all these little bits, and it should be good. But yeah, moss is it's just moss really, isn't it? It's not much to say about it, to be honest. Okay, next up in the craft box is my old leaf suit, which is basically just being cut up and demolished. So I use this old leaf suit mainly for the mesh, to be honest. The color on the leaves is just wrong. It's just doesn't fit my environment. They're way too silver, too bright. What I do is basically use the mesh mostly, because this stuff is really good for crafting goggles. If you want to add that sort of mesh around the edges and really sort of build out the goggles so they sort of blend in with the rest of your leaf suit, it's really helpful for that. It's also really good for using on your rifles if you wanted to build some sort of rifle wrap. So yeah, it's got a few purposes. Definitely worth holding on to them and reusing them in that way. Next up, we've got some Hessian, which I haven't used for a while, to be honest. But that's not because it's bad stuff. I think when we think of like using Hessian in a leaf suit, we think of more of a traditional ghillie suit type situation. But I use this stuff on my rifle. And the color on it is really, really good. It's got this really nice sort of frayed edges, which are really helpful to breaking up the outline of your rifle. And I use this on the barrel. If you go to the first video I posted on the channel, I'm using my VSR 10, and you can see this stuff on the barrel of the VSR from where the camera's mounted. And it looks brilliant, and the colors blend in really well. I probably use this in combination with a few other items just to sort of break it up. I also have some of this netting, which I've had for absolutely years. When I first got into Airsoft, I was using this as like a neck protector or something. But I've kept it for all these years, and up until recently, it hasn't really had much use. Whereas now, it's actually great for almost like rifle wraps. And again, in combination with this, it looks quite good on the barrel of the rifle. It sort of blends in quite well. But as you can see, it's got loads of loops and holes in, which means you could craft it really easily. And when you start to layer it up, you start to sort of get more of a thicker pattern. So this stuff here is called quiet wear, and it's designed as a camouflage neck warmer. I saw some other people using this in the sniper community online, and it looked absolutely brilliant. So I ordered some of this off Amazon. It's not cheap, to be honest. It is quite expensive stuff, especially if you're going to chop it up. But it is really good. The colours are absolutely brilliant on it. I don't have much of this left now because most of it, as you can see, is on my chest rig. I've literally covered my chest rig in this material because it's just, in my opinion, so effective. The colours on it are brilliant. But as I said, it's essentially a neck warmer that's got this sort of moss, replicating this sort of mossy ground kind of texture, and it's quite flexible as well. And you can just cut it up and put it on your equipment. Again, it's not something you would necessarily, I think, tie into your leaf suit. It's just something that you would sort of glue onto your equipment, maybe on your rifle. I use it on my chest rig, and just to give you a good base, I suppose, to craft on. So next up, we've got this stuff here. This is called Jack Pike Tough Tape. Everyone who's in the sniper community will know about this stuff. Basically, this is camouflage tape, but the colours on it are really, really good, especially for UK woodland. The colours are just brilliant. They just match. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you would have seen I made a video specifically about this product because, to be honest, I was so impressed with it. And this is essentially an adhesive, flexible tape. But I use this tape on a lot of my equipment. Certainly anything I plan to use in as sort of my leaf suit loadout. So here's a radio, for instance. It's such a small item that I've put it on. I've just put a bit of the tape on there just to sort of hide some of the black where possible. So I'm using it on something like a radio. All the way up to something like a full rifle. This is a little project of mine at the moment that I've been working on. This is a Warrior MB01 L96 sniper rifle, and I've covered the whole rifle in this tape as well. You know, you can really use it on anything, but this rifle was originally black in its color. I've covered the whole rifle in this tape. It does take a while to do. To be honest, you do have to have a lot of patience to do a whole rifle. The results are really, really good. And it's non-sticky, so it's actually got a fabric texture to it. You know, you don't want the tape to stick to your gloves or pick up dirt when you're out in the field. If you want to know more details specifically about the Jack Pike Tough Tape, then definitely go and check out my other video on the channel. So when you're doing leaf suit crafting, obviously you're going to also need things like glues. You're going to need spray paints, inks, cable ties, and things like that. So these are all things I have in my craft box as well. So we've got a hot glue gun here, which I use to attach the quiet wear material onto my chest rig. So this is really useful to have around. Set of pliers, of course, for clipping cable ties down once everything has been attached. Both of these spray paints here I got from Hobbycraft. I've used quite a few different brands over the years, but I picked these guys up as I was picking up a few other bits in Hobbycraft as well. Wouldn't recommend this color here. This green is way too dark. It also has quite a bit of blue in it, which means it's pretty much useless. So don't recommend that. This is just a brown that I got here as well. And this is fine. It was just to take the edge off some of the items on my leaf suit. When it comes to spray paints, to be honest, I'm just using them to sort of help the items out a little bit. I'm not spraying anything in its full color. Everything is almost dusted with spray paint. Other things we've got here are some hair ties. I actually purchased these from Amazon. Now hair ties are pretty much essential to have on your leaf suit if you want to attach natural foliage. Of course, leaf suit these days are coming out with the elastic straps built into the suit, which is awesome. But if you're buying a suit that doesn't have the elasticated straps built in, you're going to want to attach some of these guys. And if you look at my other leaf suit tips and tricks video, you can see exactly how I attach them. But essentially what I've done is put a cable tie at each end of the hair tie, which allows me to push natural foliage under, and because they're elasticated, it's just going to stay in place. I've also got a bit of dental floss here, which I originally used for attaching some of the lighter, smaller cotton leaves onto my leaf suit. Don't recommend using it. I think you're far better off using raffia. Not worth wasting your time. I've also got some of this fabric glue here. This is too weak. Don't use this stuff for leaf suit crafting or anything like that. You need something a bit stronger. Hot glue is good. I don't have any shoe glue on me at the moment, but that's also really good. The other item I've got here is this ink. I use this to colour my cheap Chinese leaves that I bought. And this stuff works really well. I've run out of some of the other colors at the moment, but this is the same brand that I use. You can get loads of different colors, greens, yellows, browns. So definitely recommend looking into this stuff. There is a tutorial on the Stip the Sniper blog page. I'll put a link to the website below where you can find out the exact process you need to use for dyeing your leaves using this ink. And finally, of course, we've got cable ties, which are pretty much essential if you want to attach items to your leaf suit. Certainly some of the heavier items with a plastic stem, such as sneaky leaves, the Ikea leaves I showed you earlier, and some of the other artificial plants that I've been showing you throughout this video. I use cable ties. These are brown. These are 2.5mm cable ties, which are absolutely fine for attaching most things to your leaf suit. Probably best to get a variety of sizes because some of the bigger items might need a bigger cable tie. If you're attaching stuff to your rifle, these might not fit all the way around the rifle barrel because they are quite small. Best to get brown cable ties or green if you can. If not, black, it's not the end of the world. It's just if you can get something that's less noticeable in your leaf suit, then that's always going to be a bonus. So that pretty much wraps up this video. These are the items that I currently have in my crafting kit. Like I say, some of them work, some of them don't work very well, but I've only found that out through trial and error, and I think that's really important with leaf suit building. It is a trial and error process. The field you're playing at is going to be different to the field I'm playing at, so please don't take my word as gospel. I'm just sharing my ideas and hopefully giving a little bit of inspiration for your own leaf suit build. Let me know down in the comments. Are you guys building a leaf suit at the moment? Was this video helpful? Perhaps there's some items that I showed in this video that you're currently using in your leaf suit build. I'd love to hear your thoughts.